With power meters becoming increasingly more affordable, more and more of us are training with power rather than traditional measures like heart rate or even speed. Perhaps the most important measure when training with power is functional threshold power, or FTP. Many of us have heard of the term, but what exactly is it and why is it important? Functional threshold power is measured in watts and is defined as the maximum average power a cyclist can sustain for 1 hour. The way you determine that is to do an FTP test. These can vary in length, but the most common FTP test simply tests the highest average power you can hold for 20 minutes. 95% of that figure then gives you your FTP. The easiest way to do an FTP test is on an indoor trainer. It's even easier with training apps like Zwift and TrainerRoad, which offer FTP test workouts. Knowing your FTP is useful as it gives you training power zones to train to, each expressed as a percentage of your FTP. These can sometimes vary, but they generally look like this. Power zones can then be used to create highly structured training plans where you can ride at different power zones to help you target a specific component of your fitness. For example, to improve your time trialing, you might aim to ride for long intervals at sweet spot, around 90% of your FTP, to help your body cope with long, sustained efforts. The idea is to measure FTP at regular intervals, around every 4 to 6 weeks, to see if you're improving. So that's FTP, but how do you know if yours is any good? Well, first of all, it's important to point out that comparing your FTP to another rider's is generally pretty pointless. That's because the higher FTP doesn't mean the better rider. Weight, body size, and the type of riding all come into play. That's why it's more useful to express FTP in terms of watts per kilo, also known as power to weight ratio. That is your power divided by your weight in kilograms. For example, a rider who weighs 70 kilograms and has an FTP of 250 would have a power to weight ratio of 3.6. Whereas a rider with the same FTP of 250 but who weighs 80 kilograms would have a power to weight ratio of 3.1. That's because there's more weight to move forward for the same power. The highest power to weight ratio would be expected to win out over a hill climb, but the two riders would be more equally matched on the flats. Of course, we want to know how we compare to others. The most commonly used chart for this was developed by world-renowned power guru Dr. Andrew Kogan. His table charts average power ranges, according to a cyclist's watts per kilo rating, for world-class professionals all the way down to novice riders. We've summarized the table here so you can see how you stack up. To put the numbers into context, the pros are miles ahead. Bradley Wiggins claimed to have averaged 456 watts for 55 minutes at the 2011 Paris-Nice, with a race weight of 69 kilograms, giving him a power-to-weight ratio of at least 6.6 watts per kilo. Alberto Contador's FTP was rumoured to be 420 watts, to give him 6.7 watts per kilo, and after releasing test data in 2015, Chris Froome's power-to-weight ratio was estimated to be around 6.5 watts per kilo at race weight. Better get on the trainer.